Welcome to Squares of the Roundtable Podcast, episode number 50.
Woo!
My name is Jeff Swan. Yeah, really, seriously. Number 50, and with me is Mike Boyle. We don't know where Ivan Rivera is. He might be stuck still with the Thanos snap. We don't know. We're going to see what we can. We'll see if we. I don't think he's going to be here tonight. We really should consider the Ivatron.
I agree. Need some kind of technical backup. We need like an EMH for Ivan.
Yes, we do.
He's not celebrating episode 50 of the podcast by not being on the podcast.
Yes. Thanks, Ivan. We talked about this grand idea for the 50th podcast, and he's like, "Hey, well, the only see, I don't want to go here. Do we really want to go here?
Nah, let's not go here. He's not here. We'll hear from him next week.
I mean, it's the one person who has a woman in his life. I guess I could understand.
Yes.
I mean, and okay, I'm hitting the third rail. I should stop. Okay, well, we'll stop there. So Mike, I'll let you get to starting. What you got?
Let's see. Last week, I saw Endgame a second time.
Okay.
And it was funny because episode 1 of the podcast was our discussion about Infinity War. So episode 49 was our discussion about Avengers Endgame. So episode 50, that's today. That's this one you're listening to. Thank you very much for listening, by the way. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about Endgame. So again, if you think, okay, I'm going to skip 49 because I didn't see Endgame yet. Well, I say skip ahead maybe another 10 minutes here because I got spoilers for Endgame that I want to talk about. And, of course, we'll talk about the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer today, so that's going to have Endgame spoilers. So, I don't know, maybe you want to skip this one too. Just go see Endgame like everyone else on the damn planet.
Well, here's the deal. And as long as we're on this, so the Russo brothers have come out and said, according to them, that the deadline for you need to keep your mouth shut was May 6th.
Yep.
That if you haven't gotten there in 2 weeks.
That's right. You're out of luck.
Then you're out of luck, and we shouldn't all be stuck because of that. So I'm thinking we'll still count this as an episode where that's the case. But next episode, we start making jokes about Endgame, and you're like, oh, spoiler. I'm going to be like, no, get your ass to a goddamn movie theater.
That's right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So right, we're right there. I'm trying to think there was something else I was gonna. So yeah, I think that's the answer. I think this is the last one where really
we'll be all like spoilers, buddy.
We're gonna warn anybody. After this, you can't.
So Endgame spoilers. At the very end, after Gamora is back from the alternate timeline and kicks Quill in the nuts, we don't see her anymore. She is not present at Tony's funeral. She is not present on the ship, the Benatar, at the very end when they leave with Thor, where Quill's on a screen. We see Gamora's face and it says searching. So we don't know if she was snapped when Tony snapped, or if she just ran off because she doesn't give a crap about any of these people, including her sister, who she was convinced to fight against her father. So Gamora was nowhere to be seen. I didn't catch that. I thought just assumed at the end of the movie she was on the ship with them. That was a false.
I thought we talked about that. Right?
Yeah, I thought she did, but
we
did. But
I was just gonna say, I think that might be what Guardians 3 is about.
Okay, the search for Gamora.
Yeah.
And right around Thursday, Friday, it occurred to me, holy crap, what if Spider-Man Far From Home takes place before Infinity War? And of course, my worries were alleviated today. So,
yeah, they had been kind of clear that it was going to be an after Infinity War thing.
Okay.
And by the way, that's why I kind of find it funny. There are a lot of people who are like, Endgame is the close to the Infinity Saga and these phases. And I'm like, no, not really. Not when you have Kevin Feige, who's the head of Marvel Cinematic Universe, saying, no, really, we think the wrap-up is going to be Spider-Man Far From Home. And given the trailer today, yeah, without question, I think that is definitely something where there's a lot more. It's going to answer some questions that we didn't have, and I think that that's a good thing.
Yeah, and this is what we talked about last week, where we'll get to sink our teeth into a world post snap, post the what they called the vanishing. I think on some of the posters and memorials we saw in Endgame, where all these people, half the population's been gone for 5 years, and now they're back. So we'll get to see the ramifications of that, and I'm really excited about that.
It's interesting. There was something I saw last week, and I can't remember who the source was, where they were saying that the series on Disney Plus are going to basically be the continuation aftermath of Endgame, supposedly, which is interesting because there's talk that this Vision Wanda series is set in the 50s, and we talked a little bit about that, and there's some thoughts, and I'll leave it there. But anything else that you picked up from the movie?
The person in this theater was about 1/3 full because it was a Wednesday matinee, and someone sat right next to me. Mm-hmm. That's annoying as fuck. Like, the rest of the aisle is open. Like, to my left. Well, I had a few people on my right, but because when you purchase your tickets online, you can't buy a seat with one space. You have to make 2 over. So I had to do that. And then someone on my left purchased a seat right next to me. And there's no one else to her left through the end of the aisle. And she never moved. And that was annoying. But oh well. But she was fine. Other than that, it was cool. The music, the soundtrack was really good in this. All the songs they used, I didn't realize awesome music they used in this movie. It's almost like a Guardians playlist when you play back some of the songs they had.
Did you catch at the end the jazzy version of the Avengers theme song?
Was that during the credits?
Yeah, at the end during the credits. There's a 1940s styled jazz version of the Avengers theme.
Okay, because there was a song that they danced to. It's been a long while, but I didn't know there was that one.
Yeah, during the credits there was a jazzy Avengers theme. It was pretty cool. I liked it. It was weird at first. I'm like, that really isn't. Yeah, it is. Okay.
That's cool.
Okay. Yeah, no, I thought it was kind of neat. As long as we're talking about this, so one of the controversies is Fat Thor. Have you heard about all this?
My knee-jerk reaction was to not, but like I said, it made sense for him, and I was okay with it by the end of it. But there is a controversy, I guess, with the people.
Right, that people are sitting there saying, oh, it's. They're dissing fat people, and it's fat shaming and all this stuff and whatnot. And as a fat guy, I gotta be honest with you. I think it was cool. I think the best. At first, I was like, oh, so he doesn't automatically go back to his original body when he fights Thanos. And I was kind of like, you know what? That's really cool. And the reason it's cool is because that would have been an easy thing to do, and everybody would have been cool with it. But it was a lot cooler to see a guy who looks like the average guy, body type, fighting Thanos. And it's like, you know what? Kind of cool. That's Thor. I like it.
Yeah.
It showed that that you're just not sitting around on the couch eating a bag of chips, that there are a lot of people who look like that, who are quite active and able to do things like that. And sure, he's a god, but you get the point.
Yeah. And he's in a bad spot. He has been for the last 5 years, so give him a break.
Right. Well, it's not
but
even
nobody
fat
shamed
like
Gimli the dwarf.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll take it a step further. Like, someone was like, why would his mom sit there and say, eat a salad? And I'm like, you know what? I got to tell you something. My mom, God bless her, I know she loves me, but there have been times where it's like, maybe you should consider a salad. It happened. It happened. This, welcome to moms, especially Jewish moms. I will tell you right now, my Jewish mom, oh my God, that absolutely would have happened. I buy it 110%. Yeah, there were some fat jokes. I don't think any of them.
I think one Rhodey makes a joke about cheese whiz in his veins. Rocket calls him Tubby. Stark calls him Lebowski. But I think that's
Lebowski's funny. Lebowski's funny for different reasons.
Yeah, because he just looks like the dude. Yeah. And the dude was not fat.
Like the great Thor Lebowski.
Thor Lebowski, yes, and yes, we are getting a Funko Pop Thor Lebowski.
Are we really? Oh my
yes.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah. So so Endgame, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna go see it a third time, but I might. If I had to bring a family member with me, my mom and my sisters were gonna go see this over the weekend, but Friday night they went on their favorite movie purchasing website app, and they couldn't find 4 seats that were next to each other in a good spot. So they just wrote it off, and we'll go another day. So
got it. Yeah,
this is making crazy-ass money.
Yeah, what, $2 billion in 11 days?
2.1. In less than 3 weeks, it's going to become the highest-grossing film of all time. That's insane.
Yeah, no, and in fairness, it deserves it. The hype was there. They set this up, and the funny part is, I continue to say, I think Infinity War was a better movie than Endgame. But
I think I can agree with you. It was just weensy, a little bit better for me. I like them both just pretty much equally.
More action in Infinity War.
I agree
with
that.
More action.
Yeah. Yes,
and
that is a fact.
It moved a lot faster. But yeah, and by the way, this is not a diss on Endgame.
No.
To me, I kind of laughed though, because all the people who were like, I didn't expect that, I didn't see this. It's like, when the twist came, all of them made sense. All of them. So I was like, so yeah, I think there was some predictability in that. A little bit. If you really had seen the movies and, so it wasn't that I knew it was coming. It was as much as when it happened, it was like, oh, sure, that makes sense. It wasn't necessarily like, there's some people who were like crying over some of the things that happened. And I'm like, I don't know that I was there.
No, I was crying.
I don't know.
I had a couple of scenes where I was like, oh, no. Okay.
I just didn't.
Because I'm enthralled in it. Not that I was like, I wasn't expecting it. I'm expecting it. And there was a rumor when I went into The Force Awakens as to what's going to happen to a certain scoundrel-like smuggler. And when it happened, I was no good to anybody.
See, there's an example of where they did a better job. Okay? JJ did a better job with stuff like that. Okay? Because in that scene where it's Ben Solo and Han Solo, okay, they, when it's that scene, there's a moment there, because like when they start and they go on the bridge, okay, and you're like, oh, he's so dead. He's so dead. They're going to kill him. And they have the conversation, and then for a minute you're like, holy crap, he's going to live. This is going to work. Maybe this is really going to work. Maybe this is going to work out. This is all going to go well. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh.
Yep.
Oh, man, really? Come on. It's like It's like that. See, the best way is that feeling in. Have you ever seen? You've seen Major League, right?
Yes.
That scene where Willie Mays Hayes doesn't make it all the way to second base, and the guy's like, "Come on, inch a little bit closer so I can tag you," and he's like, "Screw you," and he makes him come over and tag him. It kind of felt like that with when they killed Han Solo. See, that kind of, to me, that was where I got feels. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Whereas
but I said, Endgame, yeah, I might see it a third time, but I don't remember. I think I saw Infinity War 3 times. That's the magic number for me.
You know, here's the other thing, and maybe it's just me. You tell me. Okay? Steve Rogers, a.k.a. Captain America, in the end, gets his happily ever after.
Yep.
He kind of does, right?
Yeah.
He kind of gets his happily ever after. Whereas, you know, Tony Stark, yeah, that's the person who ends up dying. And it kind of, I'll be honest, I think if Captain America bought the farm, I probably would have been a little bit more, the feels.
So, yeah, I was predicting the other way around. When I predicted the two between Cap and Tony, I got it reversed. I thought Tony was going to retire. Not in the same way that Cap would, because he had no reason to go back in time. He wanted to keep things as they were in the present with his daughter.
Right. And, so like I said, it's going to be interesting to see where they go from here. As I said, I certainly tell people that you should check it out, and there are reasons to check things out again. But like the people who are complaining about fat shaming with Thor, I understand where they might be coming from, but to me, as somebody who is a fat guy, a male fat guy, I was empowered. I thought it was great. I think it was incredible to see the fat guy superhero, because we've never had the fat guy superhero, at least not on big screen, not one where he was total just comic relief. Okay, you know, if there was a guy like that, he'd be the sidekick. Thor was no sidekick.
Yeah, it was a great scene where the three of them are just looking down at Thanos, where he's got the blade stuck in the ground, and he put the helmet on top, and he's just kneeling, waiting for Nebula to bring him the stones, and the three of them just looking at him like, let's go fuck him up. And Thor calls both the Hammer and the Stormbringer. That is such a badass moment.
Yeah, no,
one of the reasons why Thor's been my favorite Avenger in the MCU.
Now, we didn't talk about this, and I think we didn't want to touch the third rail on this one. The all-female team. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I have another part of that discussion. When I had some training to do on Tuesday last week in Libertyville, and it turns out they sent me the wrong time on the email, so I was an hour early to Libertyville for training for work. And so I went over to the comic book store. I went to Dreamland Comics in Libertyville. I appreciate their hospitality there. They got great selection. Check them out. And I had a discussion with one of the clerks because somebody else came in, and they said they had a problem with that one little scene with girl power or A-Force, whatever you want to call it, where everyone's all like, you know.
So I didn't realize they'd actually done a comic like that, Mike. I had no idea that they had actually done
A-Force,
an Avengers. Yeah, I had no idea that they'd ever done that. That's a recent thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, I mean, there was a part of me where I'm like, it seemed contrived, but I gotta tell you, there are women who were like, that was amazing, that was empowering.
Little girls.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, little girl's gonna look at that and say, that was a cool scene, Dad. And Dad be like, yeah, that was pretty cool. That's why I saw it. I saw it as a nice nod. Right. I didn't have trouble with it at all.
And it was, and you know what? It wasn't just little girls.
Yeah.
I mean, I know women who were comic book fans or fans of the movie who were like, yes, that is a moment for us. And it's like, I would say the only reason it bothered me is it just seemed too contrived. It didn't seem organic. You know what I mean? I think it could have been organic, and I would have been okay with it. But it just seemed like it was being pushed.
Well, the other side of it is the logistics. One guy said it's just like if it happened in DC, all the women be like, "We'll back you up, Supergirl," because Captain Marvel doesn't need a whole lot of help at this point. She was able to take on Thanos with the glove on, like by herself, until she gets punched with a Power Stone fist. If Black Widow or one of the other maybe ones were carrying the glove, then we'd be like, okay, we'll back you up. That would have made more sense in a strategic sense. But Captain Marvel's carrying the glove, and she's not going to need much of an assist.
Oh,
she can fly through a ship and smash it up.
Right. You know what? That is exactly where I was going to go next, Mike. Which is the other problem I had with that scene is I'm sitting there going, that's like the best analogy I could have is okay. Think about this from a DC Comics perspective.
Right.
Okay? Superman has the Infinity Gauntlet, and he has to fly someplace. And you have, like, Batman, Nightwing, Aquaman, and you get the idea. Nobody, like, of a high power level, okay, going, oh, yeah, we got you covered. We got you covered in the blink of an eye. He's there.
And if she needs to get from point A to point B, she can fly straight up into space and travel a little bit and then fly straight back down and not worry about any of the ground troops.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But still, all the logistics aside and all that, I didn't have a problem with the girl power.
Oh, that was the only part. This is the example of where it's like, I like the idea. It's the part where it's like, one, it didn't feel organic, and two, I'm sitting there the entire time going, why does Captain Marvel need an entire army in front of her? She just went through an entire ship. And then later, she takes on Thanos by herself, which, by the way, I thought was interesting. So Captain Marvel takes on Thanos by herself, but Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, 3-on-1, can't even, like, go toe-to-toe, are having trouble going toe-to-toe. But Captain Marvel and Thanos, 1-on-1.
Well, in their defense, it was 3-on-1 with Thanos without the glove. Thanos had the gauntlet on, the Iron Man gauntlet on when Captain Marvel is trying to stop him from snapping his fingers.
Right, but to me that's even more amazing because it's like, and again, if that's where you want to put her power level, that is fine by me. But I just kind of, there's a part of me where I'm like, and by the way, I want to make this clear. I don't have a problem with it being a woman at that power level. I just have a problem with what character it is being at that power level. You've now basically made her more powerful than the Hulk or Thor.
She is strongest Avenger.
She is, well, forget that. Currently, she's the strongest character in the MCU.
Yeah.
Currently.
At this point, yeah.
For superheroes. Until they bring in Silver Surfer or somebody like that, then okay, now we have a conversation. Yeah. But otherwise, right now, in terms of heroes in the MCU, yeah, she's number one with a bullet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah. Endgame was super good. And of course, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
Wait. No, it's okay. I was just going to say, the only other thing I would think is, so where do we put Doctor Strange on that list?
He's I'd say around the middle, just because of his Master of the Mystic Arts. I mean, he gave Thanos a run for his money with 3 stones on him.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. I mean, there's a part of me where it's like, there's a part of me because of all that stuff that jumps him up a lot higher than. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Like I said, we can move forward a little bit. Yeah.
The rest of them, let's see.
So
Saturday, I did not go to Free Comic Book Day. I worked Saturday, but I found out on Free Comic Book Day that my local comic book store is closing at the end of June. So I'm like, shit. So I think there's another one opening near me soon that's going to take its place. So I'm hoping that way I can get my pulls and such. That sucked, though. I go on the Facebooks on Saturday, and I'm like, oh, you picked a hell of a day to announce it. But, well. Now, Jeff, have you ever had, Sunday I met a friend out by Garden Prairie, which is way out in the boondocks beyond the edge of the world, out by Marengo, out by near Belvedere.
Okay. That is for people who are not familiar with Illinois, that is kind of like by the end of the world. Yes.
Yes, like beyond this place there be dragons. I found a little shop, we were going to meet for lunch at this little hot dog hamburger place. And I'm trying, and that's part of me this week too, is that I'm just trying to, kind of a mini diet. I've had a quite indulgent April. It's being with just conventions and toy shows and birthday and whatnot, and my New Year's diet failed, crashed and burned. So this first week I've been pretty good with my diet. So I just got like one cheeseburger and a small fries and a small Coke. That was my food for the day that day, as a mini cheat day. And I bit into this hamburger, and it was like a burger from a place that closed down long ass time ago here in my hometown. And it really brought me back. It's like you thought, like when you have your food at this one place and it closes down, you think you're never going to have it again that same way. And then you have it again. It's like, that was a great moment for me. I was like, oh my God, I never thought I'd have this kind of, like just a little, just a slider from this old restaurant that I used to go to here in town for years.
That's cool.
So yeah, it was great. I had a great moment. Did a little shooting in my friend's backyard. He's out, and like I said, he's way out in the boondocks. So between like the highway and the railroad tracks, we set up a little target, a little area where I got acclimated, just a couple little stuff, like a tiny little 22 bolt action rifle and a 38 special, and then a couple of rounds with a 20 gauge shotgun. And that was fun, just shooting little clay pigeons. But it's not hurting, but my shoulder's tickling a little bit from the recoil on the 20 gauge. But that was fun. Something I talked about me and Dad doing for years, but we never did. You never do it because you always can. So, great reminder just to don't waste your opportunities. So I had a great time with that. And then Sunday night went to game night where we played Marvel Legendary. I don't know if Legendary is a type of game mechanic, and then they just put the Marvel characters in it. But I have played it before, and I've showed it on my Facebook page of my game night pictures of just the board. And that was fun, Marvel Legendary. And we had new characters. We had Thanos in there and the Kree Skrull War, and it's Marvel Legendary. And that was fun. It's a good deck building game, but
is that a deck building game?
It's a deck building game, card game.
Is it cooperative or is it competitive?
It can be both. But it's mostly heroes versus villains. Heroes versus the villain deck. So, but you can play for victory points at the end, just like how I described the DC deck building game, where you compete against, you fight the supervillains in the deck, but once the supervillains are all gone, you count up the victory points and see who wins that way. So you can it's mostly, technically it is cooperative. So that was good. I had a fun week, and the weather was finally, when the rain finally stopped over the weekend, I did have a good weekend. So it was good though. So Jeff, tell us all about your weekend.
So it was kind of weird because I too kind of did not get to do any of the geek, well, I shouldn't say that, the nerd geek stuff. And so there was a part of me where I was kind of bummed because I'm like, okay, no May the 4th be with you, so no Star Wars Day. And of course I have friends getting together to do Star Wars, our role-playing game, and I'm like, I can't, no, I got something going on. And then that's the same day as Free Comic Book Day, so I couldn't go down to, because I was busy too. And it kind of bummed me out because Scott McMahon and Art Balthazar and a few other people were at and they were doing drugs and stuff. So it would have been nice to hang out with them, but couldn't do it. And the reason I couldn't do it was I was at the D30 Chicagoland Toastmasters conference, and it's a once-a-year thing. And the reason I couldn't do it was, one, I was out there just because it's something I like to do, and I like to see some of the seminars and whatnot. For people who are unaware, Toastmasters is an organization about speaking and leadership. And they also do contests as part of that. And so they do speaking contests. And I was, there were 3 contests, one which is called Table Topics, in which you walk into the room and there's a question, and everybody gets the same question. They sequester the people. You got 2 minutes to come up with an answer. That's one type of it. Another is where they will bring somebody in and they will give a speech, and then those people will have 5 minutes to kind of come up with ideas about what they did well in their speech and what they need to do to improve, and it's called evaluation. And the third contest is the one that's probably the most well-known and most popular. It's what they call the International Speech Contest. And the International Speech Contest is how they determine the world champion in public speaking every year. And so this year, I was in 2 of the 3 contests. I was in the evaluation contest on Sunday. And originally I did not win evaluation for my division, but the winner could not make it. So I was second, and they said, well, can you make it? I said, yeah, sure, I can make it. But I went out on my own and won the International Speech Contest for my division.
All right.
And that's the first time I've won that contest at division in my 10 years in Toastmasters. And I could go through all the stories of all the wacky ways that I have found new ways to lose. At times I joke that I've been cubbed, okay, in that regard. So this was the first time I had an opportunity to do that. And, there was a lot of people, there was a lot of excitement because this was my first opportunity, my first real bite at the wheel. And if I take first place, then I go on to what's called the regional quarterfinals, and that narrows it down to the top 115 in the world. So Saturday was kind of crazy. It was crazy because a lot of people wishing me well. I've been trying to get ready. There's other stuff going on. And so you get the idea. So it was kind of a crazy day on Saturday. Friday, I got a chance to go out with our keynote speaker for the weekend, who was a 2003 world champion of public speaking, guy by the name of Jim T. And he has never had Lou Malnati's Chicago-style pizza. So I rectified that problem.
All right.
I rectified that problem. We did a Chicago Classic. And it was funny because I'm sitting there, I'm taking my time eating, and I was about to grab another piece. I'm like, hey, I just want to make sure before I take a second piece that you've had a second piece. And he's like, oh yeah, I already had 2. I'm like, holy cow.
You were nursing one. He had 2 already.
He's already had 2, and I'm like, and Jim is really skinny. So I'm like, wow. You must have really been hungry. You scarfed it down, or I totally missed it, or I was just taking my time too much because Chicago-style pizza. Who doesn't? You savor it, you taste it, you take your time, that kind of thing. So it was kind of funny. And he had a refrigerator, so we had extra. So I was like, take it back with you. So I know he used it. He told me he used it for breakfast Saturday morning, which that means he learned.
You had a fridge and a mic in your hotel room?
Mike? No, a fridge.
Oh, just a fridge? Okay.
We had a fridge. Yeah, just a fridge. We had a fridge. But yeah, so he had a fridge. So apparently he learned the blessing that is cold pizza, that is Chicago-style deep dish in the morning. So that's a beautiful thing. I'm glad he's learned to appreciate that as well.
Yes.
But yeah, so Saturday night was the International Speech Contest, and there were 5 finalists. Of them, I took second, and I'm thrilled for the winner. Cruz Hill had a great speech. I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish, and I feel like I did a really great job, and it came off really, really well. I can talk a little bit about the background at the moment, which is, you know, the last month or so I've been working on the last 2 minutes, because I really was like, okay, what do I really want to say here? And I found these perfect words, so to speak, that I had written down, but I couldn't get them down where I wanted it to. And even at the last minute, I was still like, I need to remember what this is, or I need to remember what that is. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know what I want to say. Let's just put it out there, and let's not worry about if I get it right what was on the paper. Let's just get it out there. And that helped. You know, I think the message was good. When I get a copy, I will put it out to where people can see it. It was videoed, so people will get a chance to see it as soon as I get a copy, and that'll be cool. And then Sunday, I was in the evaluation contest, and the evaluation contest I won. So I am the new District 30 Toastmasters evaluation champion for 2018-2019.
Congratulations.
Which is pretty cool. Thank you. Which is pretty cool. So the most interesting story of the weekend is, so I'm getting ready for the international speech contest. I'm getting ready for that. And the long and short of it was, I didn't necessarily get my sound check. And I needed to get my sound check because I was doing a sound effect that I was creating that sounded like a fire alarm. And I had learned how to do this in high school from a friend, and it sounds really, really good. And when I say really, really good, to the point of where people are like, you should tone that down, my ears hurt. I'm like, no, that's the point. It needs to sound like a fire alarm. So I was nervous because, Mike, as you know, because you're a sound guy, you do something like that. It can bury the needle. It can overmodulate. You can screw up all kinds of things, and it could screw up your microphone. It could screw up all that stuff. And I was just like, I need to get this tested. So I finally got a hold of them to do this. So I'm testing this sound, and it's on the mic. And in the other room, they are doing the induction ceremony for the brand new officers, and pomp and circumstance and all that stuff. And the new person who's going to be in charge of the entire district gets up, and she's in the middle of telling this heartfelt story and she's talking about this one part. All of a sudden, they hear, and she starts again, and it's, and this happens 3 times in the middle of her speech. And the funny part is everybody's kind of looking around at first, like, oh my God, is there like a fire drill or something? And it's like, and certain people are like, they're like, no, that's Jeff. Jeff's working on getting ready for a speech. But I wasn't aware of what happened about this till later. So when I went to give my speech, I know I get a chuckle in that spot a little bit, but it was more a bigger laugh than usual. And I was like, I wonder why I got a bigger laugh than usual. Well, apparently everybody had heard that noise. They just didn't know what it was. And so when I did it in the middle of my speech, then it became funny for that reason. And I'm like, wow, I really wish I had known that. But I've known the person who's going to be the next person in charge for a long time, and I felt really bad about it. But everybody else said it was like hysterical. Everybody else was like, this is really, really, it was really funny. And I'm like, ah. But yeah. And the other thing is too, sometimes like when you have stuff like that, you want everything set up the way you want it, and people start to do, why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? And it's important that you advocate for yourself, because otherwise it can screw you up. So I guess people were saying I was being, what am I saying? They say I was being belligerent. I was advocating. I'm sure they're all going to tell me I'm wrong, but I'm the one who's going to be up there. I was the one who was up there in front of 300 people plus, and they were not going to be. So if things went poorly, it was all going to be on me, you know? So, but yeah, it was a good weekend. I got to see a lot of people. I got to see some really great presentations by Jim Key. I got to see some other really great presentations by other individuals within Toastmasters. I got to do some contests and do really, really well. And, you know, on my personal Facebook page, the photos are everywhere, so people can see that. So, I'm still trying to recover. I'm like been hydrating for like 24 hours now and still feel like I'm parched. But yeah, it was I'm sorry?
You get shit-faced?
No, so I couldn't get shit-faced because Saturday night when I got done, I still had a contest on Sunday. And when Sunday happened, I was kind of dead and I had to get home. So I was like,
and then Sunday night,
you're like, yeah. Well, and the other part is too, is it's like, okay, I'm so dehydrated. Alcohol right now is going to do far more worse things than, it's going to affect quickly. It's like, I'd like to get home, please. So. But, yeah.
Congratulations on your efforts.
I appreciate it. No, absolutely.
I know you worked hard for it.
Yeah, no, I put a lot of effort in. There's a lot of people I have to thank because when you do stuff like that, it's not really just a you thing. There's a lot of people who help you out, and you guys were behind me too. And I know you guys were like, explain this to me again and all that. I'm like, I had no problem doing it. So yeah, it's pretty cool and it was a really good time. And, a little exhausting, but definitely worth it and really, really worthwhile. And to people who want to work on their professional skills, their soft skills and all those types of things, absolutely go to Toastmasters.org and check it out. So I recommend it to anybody who's looking to do that kind of stuff. Or like, for example, if you're wanting to do a podcast and you want to get better at being on here, that's a place you can go. So there you go. Mm-hmm. I gave them my ad. That's all I'm going to do. That's it. I got a question for you, though. How's the hardware store?
The hardware store is great. It's springtime. The flowers are coming. People are bringing in their broken screens because why would you fix your screen in the winter when you can get it done the same day? Now, I don't get the screen fixed until I need it now. So now you're going to complain because you got to wait a couple of days to get it fixed.
Well, of course you're going to complain now. Well, you need to get it fixed now because there were no bugs then.
Yeah, now the bugs are coming and the nice weather's here and you got no screens. You're going to have to keep the windows closed to keep the bugs out.
Yeah.
So I'll say, hardware store's great.
Or keep the bugs out. Screens. So I didn't realize you do flowers.
Oh yeah, we have flowers. Actually, our store is famous for having a big sale the Saturday before Mother's Day.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I still gotta find a Mother's Day gift. Oh boy. Thank you for reminding me of that. Oh.
Yeah, we're having a family gathering on Sunday for Mother's Day, and I asked Ma, "What do you want for Mother's Day?" And she's like, "Oh, I just want a hibiscus plant." I'm like, "All right." We'll go and get you one.
You know what the worst part is? It's like, after a while, it's like, all right, what can I get you that you're going to like? That if I get it, you're not going to sit there and do like the mom for everyone who loves Raymond and goes like, oh, I already have a toaster. Why are you getting me a toaster? I don't need a toaster. Or like the one episode where they get the Fruit of the Month Club and you're like, why can't we buy our own fruit? And you're like, oh, God. Like, after a while, it's just like, what do you want? I don't know. Surprise me. Oh, jeez. I'm so screwed.
It's either that or another Kohl's gift card.
Yeah, it's funny because women always look at guys about that, and they're like, why are you giving me a gift card? Because
you get what you want.
Yeah, get what you want. We don't know. We try to please you. We have no clue. You don't. It's like buy me a vowel, okay? Seriously, tell me what you want. Give me some sort of clue. Don't give me this snide stuff where it's like, oh, you'll figure it out. No, I won't. No, I won't. Unless it's a recliner that I can put my beer in, I am not figuring it. I'm not figuring it out. Unless it's a big screen TV, not figuring it out. Oh, you want to go to Monday Night Raw? Sure, we'll do that.
Go to Monday.
Somehow I don't think you want.
I take my Happy Mother's Day, Ma. 2 tickets to the wrestling.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, seriously.
So yeah, Mother's Day is this week. So happy Mother's Day, Ma. If you're listening, I don't know if she listens.
I know mine doesn't. If she ever did, she'd be like, "Why did you talk about that?"
Yeah.
What are you thinking? Why would you talk about that? But yeah, so the specials right now are on flowers.
Yep. The big store. Sale. Oh, the big sale's Saturday. You got to go in Saturday and get the
sale Saturday.
So people lined up like a couple hours before the store opens to pick the flowers they want to get the sale price.
Really?
Yeah.
A couple hours for flowers.
Yes.
That's impressive.
And now we were testing a new register system where we don't have like an extra register set up outside. We just have a cashier holding a tablet and a credit card reader. And then the other cashier, like next to her, she will help with like cash and checks. So now we don't have to have a register. We just have someone with a tablet who will take your credit card. So they were testing that today. So exciting stuff, truly.
What is the craziest thing you've ever had happen there?
Oh, let's see. It's a long story. It would take me a while to tell it.
What time?
Okay. Guy drops off a snowblower to be repaired. And it's like 30 years old. He wants it fixed. We send it over to the other store in our chain because we don't have a repair center here. It has to go over to the other store. So you already know that there's going to be a communication issue. So it's over there, and they look at it, and they say, we can't get parts for this. This thing is 30 years old.
Right.
So they let us know, and we tell the customer, and we ask the customer, what do you want to do with it? And the customer says, okay, well, I'll take it back, and I'll try and fix it myself, try and find the parts online or whatever, or scrap another one. Well, the word didn't get to the other store, and a couple days go by, and this isn't like cold winter, but it doesn't matter because it's not snowing. So he did this in the right time of year. So a guy comes into the store and says, where's my snowblower? I said, oh, it's still at the Round Lake store. It hasn't been brought back yet. So we called the other store saying, hey, the guy wants his blower back. I was like, oh, well, someone told us here that we were supposed to scrap it, that it's no good. And this is a 30-year-old snowblower, and you think most people will be like, nah, he'll write it off. It's just it's junk. It's a 30-year-old piece of junk. No, the guy was livid. So he goes over to the other store, and they had to call the cops because he was getting physical. He was getting belligerent with the repair staff over there. So eventually they find it in the scrapyard. They did not destroy it. And so he gets it back, and still, they had to call the cops over a 30-year-old snowblower. And that's the only thing that comes to mind in recent memory. I'm sure there's other stuff, crazy shit, that happens. Because when you're dealing in retail... Who
had to go through all the stuff to get the snowblower? Who had to go through the garbage?
No, it was in their boneyard. That was the guys over at the other store. Not
us. So they had to do it, not you.
So because he dropped it off at our store, and we're just pretty much the messenger the whole time. Right. And there was a message got screwed up. So that's just how that is when you have to have a clear line of communication. And when you have younger people who are used to typing their entire lives, and their penmanship is for shit, and you can't read their phone numbers that they write down and names. And that's another whole issue. Do you have an issue with that with younger people who can't write for shit?
I've not run into it as much, but I could understand where you're coming from. I mean, there is that joke going around that basically, people older people could write it in cursive, and it would be code against the people who were younger.
Right, exactly.
But in some ways, it's like, if we had carried around, if we had a cell phone or a tablet that we carried around on a regular basis, we wouldn't have never done any of that either. I mean, I don't know. I see, I trust me, I get it. At the same time, it's like it's kind of like that old joke with your math teacher who said, well, it's not like you're ever going to be carrying a calculator around all the time. Well, guess what? I do.
20 years later, everybody has a supercomputer in their pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I remember taking an exam and they're like, you can't use a calculator. Well, why not? Well, in the real world, you wouldn't have a calculator. I'm like, it's not like you carry it everywhere you go. No, guess what? I mean, it's funny. I got that person mad that day because I'm like, well, we're not anywhere. We're here, and I'm taking a test, and I have one right now, so how come I can't use it? And that was the moment I got into trouble because everyone in the test heard me say it. I'm like, what? Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. The thing is, when you work in that field, you have forms you have to fill out, and we need to write down on paper people's names and phone numbers. And sometimes special instructions have to be added. And to say nothing of misspelling of words by some of my staff and my coworkers, it's also about their penmanship. And yeah, they're just not just to say they're just products of our education system, but it's just kids, they only write when they're at the store. And that's happening to me now. Like, I don't usually write stuff down a lot anymore. It's all, everyone types it. Or, of course, I've got my show notes on my phone and my tablet, but I also have show notes here in front of me on a tiny little half sheet of paper. So I think penmanship is going away. See, I had 4 years of drafting. I had 4 years of drafting in high school, so I print. So I'm what you call, I write in caps. Like all capital. I'm shouting every time I write something down. Because I don't use short. I don't use lowercase letters. I just use all uppercase.
Oh yeah, that would be annoying now. Yeah, I think my headache with writing was being left-handed. So you're writing with a pen, and it gets all over your hand.
It smudges, yeah.
And you're just like, suddenly you have the blue hand of doom.
Oh yeah, I have many of that time in school. Yeah, absolutely. And that's back in the time too, where they used to try to break you of it, where they would be like, "Then you should try writing with your right." Well, why would I want to do that? This is where it's comfortable. Why are you trying to make me? Anyway, yeah. Hey, we did get a new Spider-Man trailer. Yes, and I'm watching it silently right now as we speak on repeat.
Yeah, me too.
I've seen it. I saw it twice today, and yeah, we'll be talking about the Spider-Man trailer. It was pretty cool. I'm digging it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I was excited before. I am even more excited now.
It's like we're in the afterglow of Endgame right now, and now it's like, oh yeah, we got another one in 2 months. We're like, woo!
I gotta be honest. I'm more of a Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is kind of my guy when it comes to Marvel characters. He's really kind of my favorite. So. And as much as everyone wants to sit there and talk about Tobey Maguire and how great those movies were, from a comic book perspective, I like what we get from Tom Holland a lot better.
Yes, he's a great Peter Parker.
Yeah. And it's nice to have them not rushing him to get into college or anything along those lines. It's nice to have high school Spider-Man, and I think it's cool. I think it's great, and yeah, I think that's an interesting take for them, and I like it. I think it's fun. So, but yeah, people may want to, again, if you haven't seen Endgame, you might want to skip here for a few seconds because this is gonna.
Yes, even Tom Holland says before the trailer, this contains Endgame spoilers.
Big ones. Yeah, big ones. Big Endgame spoilers on this one. So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so really, I was excited about this. I really was. I had heard that there was a new Spider-Man trailer that was coming out, but this really got my juices going. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an interesting movie, and I think we're gonna get a lot out of it. And what's most interesting to me about it, Mike, is one of the biggest themes that's going to come out of this thing is are you the new Iron Man?
Yeah.
Or living up to that legacy. And it's interesting because the way that they're setting this up, and this is where I'm curious. I'm curious if at some point we'll see Gwyneth Paltrow back as Pepper, or if at some point in a couple years we might see the daughter pop in at some point once they get back to or even the kid from
Iron Man 3.
From Iron Man 3. I'm curious if some of those characters may now suddenly pop into the Spider-Man Marvel world, because obviously Happy has, and it's clear that there's some sort of arrangement where Peter is working with or part of or in some way still involved with Stark. It's not clear how yet, but it's there. So,
yeah, I know Pepper. I know obviously Pepper might still be CEO of Stark Industries, or maybe she's taking it, giving the mantle to Happy.
I doubt that. I think, but I can't imagine that. Considering the fact that May Parker and Peter Parker, it's not like they had money. But for him to be kind of Peter's handler, so to speak, that to me means that there's got to be something where you understand what I'm getting at with that, where he's getting some sort of arrangement with that.
Yeah, and
with Stark.
We know for at least some of this film, he's still using the Iron Spider suit.
Yeah, he is. It seems as though it'll be not when they get to Europe though, which is going to be interesting to see how that kind of works. But we'll see. Like I said, there's some really. I'll tell you right now, there's some really funny shit in this trailer.
Mm-hmm.
There's some really, really funny stuff in this thing.
Yeah, and it seems like Ned and MJ and Flash are in the thick of it here. So.
Yes.
So it looks like there's going to be some action. There will be feels because obviously Peter's mourning Tony like we all are. So. Yeah.
But there's some really funny stuff in this trailer. I rewound 3 times to watch Flash get hit in the balls.
Yeah. Now, was that Peter who did that?
I don't even remember. All I know is I rewound that scene 3 times because it was just that funny. As a matter of fact, hold on? Let me see if I can play it now just to see if I can find out who it was. But to me, that was.
No, it's not. It's not Peter who does it. I think it's just one of the classmates.
Is it one of the classmates? Yeah. I just was like
I'm looking at the still here. And he's using a selfie stick, which is why you hate Flash Thompson.
Yeah, that's good stuff. There's some really. I just hope that these parts that are funny are not the best funny parts of the movie. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because there's a tendency to do that.
Yeah, with Spider-Man Homecoming, we got a lot of the LOLs in the trailers. Like, we find out that Ned finds out that
right.
Peter's Spider-Man, and so he follows him around asking you dumb questions, you know.
Yeah.
'Cause Ned is great.
Yeah.
And it would seem like Ned, Flash, MJ, it seems like they all got snapped because it seemed like they're all in the same class still, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little surprised about that, but yeah. Wait, hold on. Yeah, I don't know who that is who hits him in the balls. Not recognizable. You know, it's interesting. Obviously, it's somebody I don't recognize. Is it possible they could be trying to introduce Miles Morales?
That could be a young Miles.
I mean, the age would now be right, technically, for you to have Miles. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Okay, so there's another part of this we got to talk about at some point, too, especially because I sent you that one article, and we got to talk about that. But there's some really funny stuff in this. The part where John Favreau's like, Nick Fury's calling you. It's like, I want to talk to Nick Fury.
It's like,
well
you need to pick it up because if you don't answer, I got to talk to him.
Right. And then he sends him to voicemail. He's like, you don't ghost Nick Fury. That was good stuff. The Samuel L. Jackson line where he's like, I'm a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I don't do this kind of stuff. Bitch, you've been to space. I fucking died. I did have water in my mouth at that moment, and I tried not to spit it up all over everywhere. Because it was just that good.
And we know we're going to get a good performance from Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio.
Yes.
But he's a hero? Question mark, what?
Yeah. I'm curious about that. And there's a line there that we got to talk about in a few seconds. I'm trying to hold off on that. The other thing that was funny is I work with Spider-Man. We got to get on the plane. Oh, you work for Spider-Man? No. I don't work for Spider-Man. I work with Spider-Man.
It was there. The tables have turned a little bit now, where he's the lackey again.
Yeah. Favreau is phenomenal in this movie so far, from what I've seen. He's going to be great in this. I'm glad that they've kept him around. He's a great person for this kind of role for this. I'm glad to see Happy's going to have a future role in the MCU, which is fun. I did think it was interesting that apparently they're teasing that Zendaya's MJ is going to figure out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
No, I think
and they do it right in the trailer. You think so?
No, she's just messing with him.
I don't know.
It's like at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming. What are you hiding, Peter Parker?
Yeah, right. They've certainly made her smart enough in these movies that, or maybe she's just going to play along. I don't know. It's kind of funny you mentioned that, because I don't know if we're ever going to get the payoff to the end of Homecoming, where May Parker walks in and sees him in the uniform, and she's like, "What the?" And then they go
cue the Ramones
they go straight to the credits. Right, they go straight into the credits. I don't think we're ever going to get that payoff where we're going to see whatever happens at that point, which is too bad. Really too bad. I really kind of wanted to see that scene, or how that went down.
But maybe we'll get a similar scene like in Spider-Man 2 where Mary Jane finds out that Peter Parker's Spider-Man in a heroic sense.
Yeah. You know what? I would not be shocked if that's how they end the movie.
That was my fear when I was thinking about this last week about, wait a minute, what if they're on the bus getting back from the airport from this trip to Europe when the donut arrives in New York?
Yeah, that's no, they made it pretty clear for Endgame.
Yeah, obviously now they made it clear this is afterwards.
Right, but they had been saying even before that they were making it clear that no, it's not going to be before Endgame.
Okay,
it's going to be after. But so let's talk about the Gyllenhaal thing with Mysterio, because the comment that's the interesting one is is that he's a hero from another universe, and Peter says, like, a multiverse. And that opens the door for some interesting concepts and ideas. And you kind of alluded to it too, which is there's rumors out there that what happened, that this snap, when these new snaps happened, that it opened new doors, new opportunities, and there are things that they may pull from this.
Yeah, that and just all the time travel hijinks too. We can get those as well.
Right. Well, the point being is it seems as though they're opening doors, and the reason why I think it's interesting is, okay, fine. Apparently, Mysterio is from an entire other universe. Well, okay, if you're going to open that door, and considering the fact that you kind of de-aged Peter Parker and moved the world up 5 years. Okay, maybe Peter Parker and Miles Morales can both be teenagers at the same time now.
No.
Maybe they could both be teenagers at the same time, and both end up being around at the same. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
we can have a Miles Morales Spider-Man movie with that still fits in the MCU, but with no direct tie-in, no Tom Holland.
Well, or even better, you could put them in the same movie, and then Tom Holland kind of disappears.
Mm-hmm.
Here, ready? Even better. Tom Holland disappears through another another wormhole to another universe. Oh, look, here's Sony. Now you can use Tom Holland. Here's Spider-Man movies for what you want to do. And we'll borrow Miles Morales for a while.
Yeah,
yeah.
That opens things up. And no, I don't want to use it as just a reason why all these characters show up instantly, like Mysterio here. And like his name is Mysterio, so you got to take everything he says with a grain of salt, obviously.
Right. Well, and the other thing is too, it's interesting. If you're going to go on this idea of the snap and that other things could open up, now you really have some things like there's this Black Widow movie that's getting made. And everybody's like, well, how does that work considering she's dead? And it's like, well, what if it's not our Black Widow?
Right.
This whole thing opens up new doors too. Like if at some point Robert Downey Jr. gets bored and says, you know what, I'm willing to do another movie.
I'm sure he's recorded some more messages for friends and family. We'll see him as like a, the Help Me Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of message.
Possibly. But the point being, like, let's say, he's like, sure, my schedule's opened up. I can make one more appearance as Iron Man or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Or I'm willing to come back for 3 movies. Okay, great. This is Iron Man from the multiverse. Same thing with Chris Evans. You've opened some doors. The only thing that I think that's funny about it is Marvel has opened up a door by doing this that they got to be careful about. Because in comics, we make fun of this shit all the time. This reminds me of in Infinite Crisis, what they called the Superboy Punch. The Superboy Punch is the reason why certain things happen in the universe because he did something and he broke it with his punch. And then there's the whole thing about One More Day when Straczynski stopped writing Spider-Man. And he made some sort of deal with Mysticio, and it reset the entire Spider-Man universe. And they were like, oh, that's not the same as the Superboy Punch. Well, this is kind of a the snap sounds a lot like a Superboy Punch. Uh-huh. So, yeah, I'm not...
No, I'm nothing but optimistic about what they're doing here with the MCU. So.
Right. I trust them. They need to be careful with it, though. Yeah. Because.
And meanwhile, we have to wait a year for Wonder Woman 84.
Wait.
Yeah, isn't it like June of next year?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a while for DC. But, well, it's going to be interesting. Once Spider-Man happens, there are no DC or Marvel movies coming for at least almost a year.
Yeah. Marvel's done because they have to start filming them now.
Right. Well, they're in process of filming some, or you get the idea. But yeah, there's going to be a lull, and it's going to be interesting because people are talking about this year with box office, and it's starting to come around because of the fact that.
Yeah, after Spider-Man Far From Home, the next Marvel movie is slated for May 1st of 2020.
You know what it is even?
Nope. Hasn't been announced yet.
That's what am I saying? They haven't announced Phase 4.
We just assume there will be a Black Panther 2.
I know we talked a little bit. And we assume there's a Strange.
And we assume there's a Captain Marvel 2.
Right, and a Guardians.
And Guardians 3. But right. No, nothing's been official yet.
I hear you. That's right. I forgot. They're not officially announcing anything. I would bet that we won't get official announcements until either San Diego or we'll get them in. They'll probably do them at D23 at their D23 convention. I don't know that they'll do them at San Diego. They seem to want to release that stuff at D23, but you never know. We'll see what they decide to do with that. I'm a little curious to see myself. So I guess now's as good time as any. So this is our 50th episode, and we have big plans for. This is kind of our 1 year anniversary, isn't it? Almost, pretty much.
Well, no, actually, the 1 year was, I think, maybe last week, because we took 1 week and then another, 1 or 2 weeks for holidays, like the 4th of July and Christmas. So This is being, episode 49 was close to, being our anniversary, because it was right after the big Marvel film. Last year was Infinity War. So, yeah, we're just over a year now. So,
we're starting year 2. Episode 50 seemed like a good time to kind of talk a little bit about it. And we thank everybody. We thank the people who've listened. We thank the people who've caught our show, who've sat there. Obviously, our reporter, our assistant correspondent, Scott, who has been a phenomenal ad. It's kind of funny because, see, this is why I laugh, because it's okay, if we knew Ivan wasn't coming, we could get a hold of Scott.
Yeah.
We put Scott. Now, in fairness, you and I have never talked to Scott.
No, he's a
friend of Ivan's.
Yeah, but he's a friend of Ivan's from many years ago.
Right, absolutely. But, that we can bring on Scott. Or, we've talked about this where we have friends of the show that we could bring on. And that could be possible. So, and by the way, if you're listening and you like the show, just let us know. Maybe we'll pop you on one time as a guest spot. Because at some point, you or I are going to have a situation where it's hey, we're going to need the day off or something, or something along those lines. Or we'll have to, well, obviously not you, but more me. But yeah, so it'll happen at some point. But yeah, so, we thank you guys for being with us for 50 episodes. And so we do have kind of some big important news. And Mike, I'll let you handle it.
All right. Starting next week, we'll be splitting up the News of the Squares with our normal show. Because we'll talk me, Ivan, and Jeff. We talk about our weeks, and then we talk news and whatever's happening in TV or movies or music. And then we usually just taper off into maybe a general discussion about something. And then by then, we're about 2 hours in, and we're let's start the News of the Squares. And by then, we're 2 hours in. So, and we don't, and by the end, when we're about 40 minutes in, that's our cutoff, because I kind of wanted to keep these episodes under 3 hours. So starting next week, what we're going to do is we're just going to split the News of the Squares up with the normal show. So there'll be more episodes, but we'll use the numbered episodes for just ours. And then every later in the week, we'll give you our little dessert. Like, here, consider this our meat and potatoes, and then you'll get your little sundae for the weekend for the Sunday. Get it?
Right. Well, and the other thing is, too, what we found was when we started getting into the News of the Squared, what would happen is if we had certain stories, and we'd be, this reminds me of that time, and we'd go off on tangents talking about other things that we've personally seen or dealt with, and the next thing you know, we're looking at the clock and we're like, oh my God, we're never going to get out of here, and we're not going to get time, what this will do is it'll allow us to have a little bit more fun with the news section where, if we want to sit there and go, hey, this reminds me of this, or if we want to get into some wacky tangent when we do the news section, because it seems like when we do the news, it starts to get weird.
That's pretty much what we had intended.
Right. When it starts to get a little bit out of control and we get a little bit more zany and stupid,
a little slap happy.
Like the one episode where all Ivan had to say was ding, and I just couldn't stop dying of laughter. Stuff like that. And so that it'll give us more ability to do that, and then we can, we don't have to worry about timing about, hey, we got to make sure that we save enough time for the new stuff and in the regular show. So we can start talking about other things, like, for example, I can start bugging Mike about wacky hardware store shit, or, we're going to try to get Ivan to actually tell us what he does and some of these things that he does. But yeah, we're trying to give you guys the best shows possible, and
yes,
we're
shaking things up a little bit. We're just going to see where it falls.
And in theory, the regular show will come out as we have in the past on a Wednesday night, Thursday, and then we're talking about the News of the Squared coming out. Were we talking about Monday? We're talking about Monday, weren't we?
Or maybe, we could do that. Or I was thinking maybe for, I don't know, most people aren't, they're listening on the weekends. We appreciate your feedback, though, what you guys think about what we're doing here.
Yeah.
But I just we want to split the show into, instead of one long 3-hour slog, we're splitting it up into 2 more digestible segments.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing we've heard from some people who are like, guys, we love you, but 3 hours. It's like, trust me, we enjoy doing it, but at the same time, we understand that it's like we want something a little bit more digestible. So we're going to try to knock it to where we're going to try to keep things to where the one shows, we're going to try to keep the shows a little bit where it may be 3 hours of content, but it's going to be more like at max 90 minutes. So that's, we're going to try to keep it to there, but yeah. So, I'm trying to, unless we've got anything else, I'm thinking let's go to news. Unless you've got something else that I can't think of off the top of my head.
Oh, and, we have just, I guess if we're going to close the show, we just, sad note, we have lost another original Star Wars cast member on the eve of May the 4th. One of my first, back in '78, one of the first Star Wars figures I had was Chewbacca. And the year, I think it was like 79 or 80. I think it might have been 80. That was when I got the Millennium Falcon. And, Han and Chewie, hey man. So it was sad to hear that Peter Mayhew was not scheduled to attend Celebration. I think Prowse was there, but not Mayhew was at Celebration. And so sadly, Peter Mayhew has passed away at the age of 74. So very sad. And of course, for May the 4th, I watched Episode 4, my favorite Star Wars movie, A New Hope.
Interesting, because most people will usually go to
Empire.
A lot of people usually Empire Strikes Back. Yes.
Most people have. No, but this because I was 6 when Star Wars came out in 77.
Sure, I was like 6 or 7 or something like that.
I was 6, so I remember seeing the explosions on the screen, and I do remember like the crowds when the theater got out, and the crowds of people. Of course, I'm 6, so everybody's super tall, and working my way out trying to find the exit, holding a parent's hand. I don't even remember who it was, but anyway. So yeah, Episode 4 is my favorite Star Wars because my first vehicle was the Landspeeder, and I had a bunch of the figures. I had a vinyl caped Jawa. Damn it!
I think I did too.
If 40 some odd year old Mike goes back in time and says, Mike, don't open that vinyl caped Jawa. Wait for Mom to buy you a cloth caped Jawa if you're gonna play with a Jawa.
What the funny part is? 6-year-old Mike kicks 40-year-old Mike in the balls and opens it anyway.
That's right. Like, screw you, it's a toy. Like, no, it's a collectible action figure. That was one thing at the Kane County show. I was finding, like, sealed, graded, vintage Star Wars figures going for, like, thousands of dollars. Like, we're talking 4 digits in the mid 5 and 6 range for like a Bespin Luke or a Princess Leia. I mean, that's just insane. It's like that's what you do when you win the lottery. You go to these shows and you spend $6,000 and you open the motherfucker right in front of the dealer. That'd be my dream. Of course, among other things, that's what I do when I win the lottery.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. There was one other thing. I guess Hulu's doing some more Marvel shows. Hulu's doing a Ghost Rider show and a Hellstrom series. So it looks like that Hulu is going to be
another outlet
for the stuff that another outlet that doesn't really jive with stuff that doesn't jive with the Disney Plus brand. So,
right. I think the Disney Plus will be focused more towards the family-oriented stuff, and then the edgier stuff can go to Hulu. I think probably kind of predicted this.
Well, we talked about it because they were doing those edgier cartoon shows, so it just seemed like that's the direction they were going to go with it. And especially because I can't remember who they're buying an extra stake in Hulu, and now they're going to own enough of a percentage of it that, that's going to be a thing. So,
show's almost over. I had my earbuds in opposite.
What was I going to? Oh, we do have one more thing we need to talk about before we get to the news. Now that I'm looking at this,
show notes help.
You have one more thing.
Go ahead.
Before we started the show, we were talking about this. So there was another trailer that came out last week.
Oh, my God.
There was another trailer that came out last week. And how do I put this?
It's based
Raise
on
your hand
another...
if you're looking for a song. Yeah.
Based on another popular 1990s franchise.
Yeah. Raise your hand if you were really looking for a Sonic the Hedgehog live-action film, because I don't know that I was. Oh. In fairness, Jim Carrey seems to have figured out how to be Jim Carrey again in this movie.
Yeah, but, he's definitely Jim Carreying hand up.
Yeah. But apparently people are not happy with how Sonic looks, and I'm just sitting there going, are there really enough people to sit there that care?
This could be one of those movies that it's so bad it's good.
Well, they're talking about now entirely redesigning his look, the look for Sonic too, because people were
that wouldn't be the first time.
People upset.
This wouldn't be the first time movie studios have changed the movie based on negative comments from the trailer.
I guess. I just didn't think that Sonic the Hedgehog was just that popular. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's horrible, and I'm not saying it couldn't be good, but it's like, has this character really been that popular for a while? Or I thought he was kind of off the radar.
Yeah, I mean, like, no one can play a Sega machine. I think Sega was owned, I think Xbox had the rights to Sega games. So I think there were Sonic games on the Xbox, but not the PlayStation. But in any case, yeah, we're getting a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and the trailer, most people would agree that it looks like shit.
That means that at some point Nintendo is going to sit there. If this works in any way, shape, or form, Nintendo is going to be out there talking about they need to go back and create some sort of Mario movie.
Well, and there is the video game movie curse. Like, no movie based on a video game really has ever been really that good.
Well, it's funny you say that. Now I'm trying to think, was there ever one that I was like, okay, that wasn't bad?
Maybe any of the Resident Evil?
Maybe, but that got to be cult status where it's like, you know, if you like that series, you just kind of, that was your thing, you know? But I could be wrong about that.
And like, are you going to go see Detective Pikachu?
If I do, it won't be this weekend. It will not be this weekend. It will not be opening weekend. I'll probably wait a week or two and wait for the crowds to die down. I might go see one. You know, I think I'm going to wait till Tuesday. Dumbo is still here, and you and Ivan said it was good, so I might try to catch it before it leaves and see it in the theaters. You know, I got to tell you, for $5, I'm willing to go see that Long Shot movie with what's his name?
Seth Rogen
and
Charlize
Theron. Yeah, for $5.
I just love saying her name. She's like a Klingon name.
There are a lot of people who thought she should have been Captain Marvel.
Or Katie Sackhoff, who was Starbuck.
I think we can go with Charlize Theron because she's a little older at this point. Although it would have been interesting. See, there's another example. I'm curious what they're going to do with Captain Marvel. If they're going to bring Captain Marvel in now, or if they're going to do Captain Marvel still like in the 2000s, you know what I mean?
Right. Whether she takes a break from the Skrull refugees and she pays a visit to Earth maybe in the early 2000s just to visit her friend Rambo.
Well, or something's happening, or something Skrull or Kree related happens on Earth, and you get the idea. Yeah. I'm sure that there was more than one occasion where something like that happened, and they'll be, you know, you get the idea.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that Long Shot movie is looking. Actually, it's getting good traction. People are liking that movie.
Good. Right, I heard it was good, and you know, God bless AMC. $5. The only reason why I would wait is because maybe I just don't feel like paying for the gasoline, and maybe I don't want to have to pay for snacks. But otherwise, really, $5 to see it in a regular big screen is just is worth it.
It's
you know, especially on a movie like that, where
audiences,
it's like, okay, I would.
Reviews are 83%, viewers are 72% on Rotten Tomatoes for The Long Shot.
Well, like I said, for me, $5. Yeah, I'm willing to do it for $5.
Yeah.
On a Tuesday night. That's livable for me. I don't know. Like I said, to me that's kind of where I'm at with it. But we should probably get to the news of the squared, right? Before we actually get into it, kind of a news of the squared thing. We did put on our Facebook page, if you guys want to figure out how to make cannabis donuts, we have the recipe for you. It's right there on the page, complete with video. You can check it out. So you can check that out. You can see that. I don't know why you want to. Well, I rephrase that. I know why you'd want to do that. But yeah, it's there for you. You can certainly create your cannabis donuts and have those.
You
can listen to the show while you do it. Yeah. You can listen to the show at that point and do that. Oh, and yeah, well, never mind. And Veronica Mars, apparently there's a new trailer out too. Boy, Hulu's going to have some good stuff coming up. Hulu's going to have some interesting things. So, yes, News of the Squared. Where do we want to start? Let's see. Scott has a whole slew of things for us.
Yes, shout out to Scott.
Yeah, shout out to Scott, special correspondent. He finds a lot of our wacky stories. Do we start with a Scott story, or do we start with something we actually have on the page?
All right, why don't you go ahead and start?
We're gonna see. This is where we need the laughing Ivan laugh track behind us the whole way.
Yes, we miss you, Ivan.
Yes, we missed the laugh track and him going wah. Certain point when certain things happen. Furious mother squirted her boob at a woman who told her to move while she was breastfeeding because it was distracting her husband.
The Super Soaker was unavailable.
Yeah.
The
mother breastfeeding in public allegedly squirted her boob at a woman who told her to move somewhere else private. The incident is said to have happened at a park in England, and it was reported on a local forum. The Post states, to the lady at Dartford Park who thought it was appropriate to breastfeed her baby whilst my child and easily distracted husband sat nearby. I don't think it was necessary for you to react the way you did just because I asked you to go somewhere private. Telling me to fuck off and squirting me with your boobs was incredibly uncalled for. I hope you're ashamed of yourself.
I say, most uncouth to squirt me with your breast milk.
This post has since caused a storm among locals, many coming to the defense of the breastfeeding mother. I don't even think we need to go any further than this other than, you know what? God bless her, for that's some quick thinking. I'll show her. I'll just scoot her with, and that's some serious aim.
Yeah, that's
if you think
skill.
about it.
You got skills, mad skills.
That's some skill. That's some mad skill. Goes beyond mad skill. That's some serious milk stream. I mean, they can't have been close, right? I mean, maybe she's standing right next to her. I don't know, but that's even so. I mean, that's and it's funny. Depending on the strip club you're in, men will pay if you watch that. Men will pay like dollars. Will tip for things like that. But yeah, there's a part of me where I'm like, oh, come on, video? There's no video. Of course there's no video.
Of anything there should have been video of.
Yes. In an age of video, you mean to tell me we don't have any? I'm like, come on. That sucks. Yeah. And here's the other question. Okay, he's looking. So what?
It's totally natural.
What's going to happen?
That's what it's for.
Why is it okay? Why is it okay for like women to be like, ooh, Thor, look at those muscles? And a guy looks 1 second at a boob, and it's like, what do you think you're doing?
Oh, you're such a pig.
Yeah, you're a pig. But wait, let me go back to like obsessing about Thor and what he could do with his hammer.
And we talked about through watching watching the MCU. Pretty much all the male stars have a shirtless scene.
Even
Chris
Fat
Pratt,
Thor.
Hemsworth, Evans, Robert Downey, Paul Rudd, Tom Holland, Chadwick Boseman. Every one of them has a scene where they all got their shirt off.
For John Favreau.
Yeah, except for Happy.
Yeah, wonder why. Maybe that's why they had to give Fat Thor.
Fat Thor. Fat Thor had a shirtless theme.
Yeah. Maybe that's why that had to happen. But someone was like, well, we've never done one for Happy. Okay, we better go one with Fat Thor.
Oh, that was one thing. When I caught the second viewing of Endgame, that's when I found out that Korg was playing Fortnite. I knew he was playing a video game. I didn't know what video game, so.
I guess they had a crossover where you could play Avengers characters in Fortnite.
In Fortnite.
Too.
There you go.
Yeah. It was a cross-promotional thing between Avengers Endgame and Fortnite.
There you go.
So, yeah. No, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Boob milk, very bad in public. Back to the whole Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake thing. So, oh well.
I don't think it's bad. I just think it's... Actually, it's funny you say that. So last night I was at Malnati's with friends after the convention, and there's this whirling noise on the tables. I'm trying to figure out what the hell it is. It sounds like some sort of like sump pump or something, or some sort of motor or something. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And somebody goes, that's her breast pump. I'm like, oh, okay.
What? Someone was running at the restaurant?
Yeah.
At the table?
Yeah. Not at the table I was at a table over from me, yes.
Wow.
Yes. Absolutely. Had to be. Couldn't have been anything else. I don't know what else it could have been. Because it certainly sounded like it had a motor or something going on, but yeah. No, I hear you. What do we got from Scott?
Okay, this first one of here is from Scott. This one, I dig this. This is a hero. Not all heroes wear capes, that's for sure. This is from truththeory.com. Authorities repair potholes after a local hero sprayed penises around them on the street. This man gets a medal. We've got all these potholes in the street. Imagine waking up one morning, getting into your car to go to work, turning down the corner, and there you see it, a giant sketch of a penis on the road. What do? Laugh it out or get offended? Well, the locals of Teesside use this obscene gesture for something completely different. A Facebook page dedicated to this surreal phenomenon called Teesside Connected circulated the story of gaping open potholes, which could be fatal to drivers and pedestrians alike, and how a couple of them were sporting giant penises all over it. After the potholes were fixed, most of the locals decided it was a good all because of the power of Willie. The power of the Willie. In another photo, a local called Brad Nicholson reported that one of the potholes were repaired almost immediately after being, disfigured. Ironically, the pothole was unrepaired for a whole year before that. That's what it takes to get your local government acting.
Okay, boy. Mental note, in Chicago, that's how we're going to get potholes fixed.
Yep. And
Chicago's
going to be filled with dicks on the road.
It already is filled with dicks on the road. Hey!
I was coming home. This was many years ago. I was coming home from my sister's apartment, and I was going to the radio station, and hit a pothole, and sure enough, it dented the rim, and by the time I got to the radio station, the tire was flat. It's like, shit. It's like, and I know exactly where I hit it. It's like, what do? I call the city or let them know? Or I was pissed off. The rim was like a couple hundred, so. Yeah, potholes, that's a good way to get your government to spring into action.
Especially if you draw dicks on it. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you how you get that done even faster. If you live anywhere near a school where there are potholes,
that's right.
That'll happen really fast.
Yes.
I can see it on the bus. Hey, what's that drawing of that thing? It looks like a nose. With two eyes. How come the eyes are below the nose?
That's an eyes with a long nose. That's what it is.
Yeah. Mommy, what kind of eyes and nose is this? Oh. Yeah.
What you got next, Jeff?
Good Lord. Oh, I got next. Well, as long as we're going down this road, let us talk about the story that Mike put up about the ex-Playboy model turned satanic cult leader who claims she had rare alien blood. Sabrina Sabrok, and a Argentinian adult film star and TV personality who has undergone 50 surgeries in her quest to have the biggest bum in the world, says her ancestors suffered an extraterrestrial intervention in the remote past. Self-styled psychic and medium set up a satanic cult and appears to believe that her blood came from outside sources. I work with researchers who told me that my blood type is not from this planet. Yeah, it's called you probably worked at this strip club and it's full of alcohol. The 43-year-old former Playboy model told the Daily Star, quote, there are even theories that aliens carried out experiments with humans mixing DNA and things like this. I wonder what things like this are.
Yes, please clarify.
Yes. She says as a result, some people are Rh negative. How would you even know these things? Rh negative blood refers to the type of red blood cells that do not have protein called the rhesus factor, I'm sure I said that wrong, on their surface. Nearly 85% of the world's population is estimated to have Rh positive blood, while the rest are Rh negative. Wait, it said the world's largest bottom. The biggest bum in the world. Well, in the meantime, it's not her bum that's big, it's her bust. I don't see a big butt. I mean, her butt's decent size. It says that Rh positive individuals can give blood transfusions to both types of blood, but Rh negative can only give to negative, and there's a chance that incompatibility might happen otherwise. In the meantime, this is a reason why this particular article has numerous gratuitous shots of this woman wearing all kinds of skimpy outfits. It does not fully explain a lot of this. Just the long and the short of it is just, once again, maybe definitely too much. I think the silicone has gone to her brain. Yeah,
that is definitely fakeroony.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I'm sure there are guys who are sitting here going, sure, whatever you say.
In 5 years, she'll have back problems.
See? In 5 years, she'll probably have the sad part is she probably makes quite a bit of money. In fairness, I will tell you now, I don't think I've ever seen this woman do porn, but I may go look her up now just to see what the heck this looks like.
For research purposes, of course.
Yeah, research purposes. Show research.
Just helping to make this show better for the world.
Yeah, we have to find out for our listeners.
That's right. You're welcome, world.
Yes, absolutely. I will make the sacrifice. As long as we're here. Apparently, this one from AOL. Man accidentally swallows Apple AirPod, finds out it still works after leaving his system.
Wow.
Apparently, it's funny. We've seen this in all kinds of cartoons and all kinds of TV shows all of our life. And we always thought this was a bunch of garbage. And now it's going to be legit. Like, how many commercials have had that where, like, you say something and Siri does whatever it does while it's in your stomach or whatever it is. And it plays music. So apparently this happened to a man in Taiwan who accidentally swallowed an Apple AirPod while he was sleeping. Surprised to find out it still worked after he passed it through his system. Oh! They didn't need to tell me this part.
Where they cleaned it off?
Oh no. No. This went far different direction.
Oh,
literally went a far different direction.
Did it kill him?
Well, apparently not. Ben Hsu, HSU, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, a Navy recruiter, I'm not even going to try, from this place, fell asleep with a pair of wireless earbuds in his ears, woke up confused when he only found one. He uses iPhone tracking feature, which makes a beep to help him locate the missing device. And he learned that the missing AirPod was still in the room. Unfortunately, he still couldn't pinpoint where the sound was coming from. I checked under my blanket. I looked around. I couldn't find it. Then I realized the sound was coming from my stomach. He went to the hospital where medics confirmed his suspicion. They told him that the AirPod, which is about 41 millimeters in size, was in the process of passing through his digestive system. And to avoid performing surgery, the doctors gave him a laxative and told him to check his waist for signs of the AirPod. The next day, he took a bathroom break.
The very next day.
The bathroom break at a railway station, dug through the toilet, and found the missing earbud. After washing it and letting it dry, he was amazed it still worked. The battery was still at 41%. Incredible, he says. No, let's talk about what's incredible about this.
He put it back in his fucking ear.
Wait, let's start a little bit before that. You're at a freaking rail station like a subway, and you're using the pooper, and you've decided that you're going to put your hand in the water there and go through your poop there in the water?
After taking the laxative. Oh, my God.
Oh, and why were you, if you took a laxative, why are you at the rail station the next day? Why aren't you not home where you're your own pooper? And then top it off.
Maybe he was renting himself out as a Bluetooth.
Well, maybe.
As a Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah. You know, that would be a good way to make money if you swallow one, and then you could play music, and you'd be like, hey, who wants to request? And you just open your mouth, and, like, it comes out. That'd be...
Yeah. Or if you're a woman, you could use it to play songs for your unborn baby.
Yeah, you could do that. Or, you know what? We could find the lady from the last song, and she can make her boobs, like, pop up and down to it, you know? Like, do like that, you know.
Then get the other lady to squirt boob milk in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome. Now, there we go. There are we talking. But, yeah, I can't believe this guy even considered putting it back in his ear.
I'm surprised it survived the stomach acid.
I'm surprised that thank God it did, because I don't want to know what a lithium-ion battery would do to your stomach.
Yeah, those are lithium-ion batteries. Those things are large enough. Those are a fire hazard. I know.
A fire hazard. I don't want to know what that would do to the insides of my body. Oof. Wow. And yet, in the end, there's so much to this. Like, first of all, you went through your poop to find it. Your poop! And you did it in a public bathroom. Not your own home bathroom. No. Private bathroom. A public bathroom. And probably one of the worst places. If you could make a list of places where you probably shouldn't have to use the pooper, the railway station has got to be one of the top ones. Gotta be. But that's where we'll do it. What are you, crazy?
They're crazy. That's why we're talking about it here.
Oh, yeah, that's why he lives. Apparently, that's why he's from Taiwan. I don't see it. I don't get it. So well, yeah. All right. What else you got?
New York woman calls 911 and asks how to kill her boyfriend. A 54-year-old New York woman was arrested after she reportedly dialed 911 and asked the dispatcher how to kill her 76-year-old boyfriend. When officers from the city of Tonawanda Police Department arrived at the home of Zelda Cotton, 54-year-old Zelda Cotton, they found her drunk and ranting and raving and swearing at them and her boyfriend. She admitted that she struck him multiple times with a VHS tape and tried to hit him with the battery from a leaf blower. Ooh. See, that's battery damage for you.
He's been watching too much hardcore wrestling. What could I hit him with? A VHS tape.
VHS tape and a battery from a leaf blower. She was taken into custody and charged with endangering the welfare of an elderly person and criminal possession of a weapon. The leaf blower battery is considered a weapon?
Apparently here it is.
But officials said that her boyfriend was not hurt during the domestic incident. 911, what's your emergency? How do I kill my boyfriend? Yay.
Now we've found a use for VHS tapes.
Yeah.
Bludgeon your boyfriend.
Yeah, maybe the VHS tape was the weapon.
I
don't know, Captain. She was hitting him with a solid block of plastic.
Now when it breaks, you can, strangle him with the tape. That's a thought. They break easier than beta. I can't believe we just went there. Speaking of going places, we haven't had any stories from Florida or Ohio. Well, that's about to change because there was a menstrual-themed cocktail causing controversy at an Ohio bar.
Oh my!
And this was in Lakewood, Ohio, where thousands of bars hoping to catch on big with new drink innovations, but one Ohio establishment thinks they've found a way to stand out. They're getting notoriety of their latest cocktail, which is served with a tampon inside.
A real tampon?
Yeah. We have tequila, triple sec, a random flavor of Truly, and then we have berries, says the bartender. Says the place is called Yuzu, and her name, the bartender was Sarah Kruger. Kruger says she likes to get creative when it comes to cocktails. Her latest creation called even can't literally is no exception. Although the popular establishment is drawing crowds, it's also drawing fire from people on social media. Her later creation is called can't literally. This is what happened when I speak all weekend. It's like now I got to read these things. The drink is a berry margarita that embodies the menstrual cycle, complete with a tampon applicator garnish.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
I've seen some offensive quote. I've seen some offensive, crass, disgusting, and I've seen most of these posts by women saying, "I can't believe you would do something like this," which I find a little bit disheartening, almost because it seems like you're ashamed of something your body does naturally, says Kruger. One of our customers was, "You have a right to be offended, that's fine." Kruger says the drink isn't meant to shock or disgust people, but to get them talking about women's health. Okay, so here's the thing. Every $1 from every purchase will go to the local domestic violence and child advocacy center in Cleveland. There's another quote here. We decided if someone doesn't want the actual tampon in the drink, that they can donate that tampon as well. They can get a drink and say, donate the tampon, we just want the drink. We'll still donate the $1 to the women's health shelter. Most patrons found no problem with the cocktail. I will say that's creative. It's creative. I understand why people would be annoyed. At the same time, I mean, if part of this is going to help kids in domestic violence, okay. All right.
It's going to a good cause. It's raised awareness, that's for sure. It did its job.
Yeah, right, exactly. We're talking about it here. That's the reason why we're talking about it, is because of this. So, I really only have one more, unless you've got stuff.
Oh, I got a few more. Let's say we'll do 3 more here, and then we'll cap it up.
Okay.
Burglars, here's from one from National News. Burglars breaking into Best Buy accidentally butt-dialed 911, and so the police arrived. 2 men were arrested early Saturday after one of them accidentally butt-dialed 911 while they were breaking into a Texas Best Buy, Houston police said. The pair allegedly stole several laptops and other electronic items from the Best Buy in Sugar Land, Texas, early Saturday. Police say the 3 suspects entered the big box electronics store, tripping the alarm around 3 a.m. At the same time, dispatchers also received a 911 call from a phone in the area, but no one could be heard on the line, just background noises. Authorities pinged the cell phone and determined the signal was coming from the Best Buy. When police arrived at the scene, the 3 suspects fled the area and led police on a 40-minute chase that reached speeds of 120 miles an hour, authorities said. He somehow butt-dialed 911. They put it all together. Officers were already en route to the alarm call when they got the other 911 call. The suspects eventually bailed out of their vehicle in northeast Houston and ran along the bayou on Los Angeles Street near the North Loop. Officers used a helicopter and canine officers to track 2 of the suspects down and take them into custody. Third suspect is still at large. Authorities found stolen laptops and other electronics inside the suspect's truck. Another 911 call that goes bad for the one who dialed it.
How do you butt dial 911?
On a phone nowadays.
How would you butt dial? I want to know.
So they were already en route to the Best Buy because they tripped the alarm, and then there's like, oh, we have a 911 call. Oh, yeah, where's it from? From the burglar's pocket.
Yeah, geez.
That's funny.
Enough as it is, it's like, okay, you tripped the alarm. Good job, Sherlock.
We just had a Kentucky Derby over the weekend.
Yeah.
And I guess
there
was some controversy about it. I don't know.
Yeah. When Donald Trump starts talking about it, there's a problem.
Yeah. From Georgetown, Kentucky. When someone tells you that something is a load of horse manure, now you can say, yes, but it's $200 worth of horse manure. An artist is selling jars of excrement from the 1997 Kentucky Derby champion Silver Charm. It all started when artist Coleman he calls himself an artist. His name is Coleman Larkin. Decided to coat a piece of cat droppings to put on his desk. He says it's difficult to work with. That went wrong. Larkin said he experimented with horses from a local stable before finding the right formula for horse poop. How do you find a formula for horse poop?
Asking me, I have no idea.
He's selling the Derby the turds. If you could figure out how to weigh, I don't even want to read this article. You can own a jar of droppings from a Kentucky Derby winner for $200. Would you? Why would you? Take the $200 and buy a menstrual drink and put it towards a charitable cause. Don't just buy a $200 jar of poop just because it came from a Kentucky Derby winning horse.
Could you take it and clone it and make it into a horse?
Would you want to clone a horse from its own shit?
You want me to answer that question?
That's a load of horse shit.
No, you sit there and you say that, and yet that sounds really cool.
I think that's a new Netflix series, coming next year.
Yeah. How did you clone it? Well, I cloned it from its own shit.
That's right. That is DNA.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I kind of want to see that. Let me rephrase it. I kind of want to see it. I kind of don't. I'm in that spot where I'm like, yeah, that'd be interesting. I could sell that. People would watch. People would be interested. We're gonna clone. There you go. We're gonna clone people from their own shit. That'd be amusing. Yeah, I could see that one. All right. So, last story of the day, and of course, we had, as we said, most stories are either from Florida or Ohio, and somehow we had gotten through this entire segment without one Florida man story. That changes right now. Because as we were on air, I found one that was absolutely worth it, which is Florida man shot when wife drops purse in grocery store. The errant bullet struck 69-year-old Vernon Messier in the shin. This is in Land O'Lakes, Florida. A man who Florida authorities originally said accidentally shot himself at a supermarket checkout line was actually shot by his wife's gun. They told the Tampa Bay Times on Monday that deputies' investigation shows that 69-year-old Vernon Messier was shot Sunday when his wife's purse fell off the counter at the Land O'Lakes Publix, causing the two-shot Derringer inside to fire. The bullet struck Messier in the shin. The deputy said 67-year-old Lillian Messier has a concealed weapons permit. No charges are expected, and deputies said that Vernon Messier is recovering.
That's what's called a negligent discharge.
Yep.
Didn't have the safety.
Yeah, Damn it, Vernon, I told you not to get pickles. Boom.
Oh, my shin.
How would you like to have been stuck behind them in the line?
Yep. Should have picked the express lane.
Like, yeah, you're like, okay, come on. God forbid you had to pee. If you had to pee and you're like, come on, hurry up. Oh, now we're going to be
now I'm never going to get out of here. And then they're putting police tape around the crime scene, and oh boy.
Yeah. How would you like to have been that person who's standing in line? Like, I just want to get my shit and go home. Why can't we do that? You know? I'm like, come on, can I go home? No, you have to tell me what happened. I just wanted to buy some ho-hos. Now let me get out of here. I don't know. This is why. Yeah. Oh God.
Thank you, Florida.
And how are we so sure that it was an accident?
She said the weapon fell out of her holster, or just fell out of her purse.
No, apparently it was in her purse, and then the purse fell down and it jarred it and fired.
And they should have had the safety on.
Yeah.
Unless it was a smaller weapon that didn't have a safety.
They said it's a two-shot.
A two-shot Derringer. Okay, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then it's done. A smaller pistol like that wouldn't have safety, and it would have to be a pretty precise shot to make it kill. So.
Right. Well, and now let's talk about the fact that why does a 67-year-old woman have a two-shot gun in her purse?
Well, she's living in Florida. That's why. If I was living in Florida, I would carry a gun. There's some crazy motherfuckers down there.
Yeah, I can't find my keys, but here's my gun.
Right.
No, I'm with you. 110% on this one. I'm like, oh, good Lord.
If I'm moving to Florida, yeah.
All right, so next week when we do this will be an entirely separate part of the show. So we'll have a lot more fun with this, and we'll be able to do more stories because Scott sends stories like a crazy man.
Yes, we appreciate you, Scott. We get to pick and choose all the juicy, awesome ones. We're going to do all. We're going to get a lot more of them in for next week's News of the Squared.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and the nice part about that'll be, too, is that it'll give us time if we want to go on tangents about other stuff we can and go crazy. So that'll give us, and that obviously you'll kind of get an idea. That show will come out a few days after the regular show. But in the meantime, Mike, where do they find us?
We're on the Facebooks. We appreciate you following us there and liking and hitting all those emoji buttons for all our funny stories and when we get episodes dropped. On our Facebook page at Squares the Round Table Podcast. We're on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRT Podcast. We are on Anchor and Podbean. Download the free apps and you'll listen to our podcast anywhere your mobile device will take you. We're also on YouTube. Click the bell, subscribe. We'll let you know when new episodes arrive. And we got the email to send us a message that way. That'd be cool via as well. SOTRTpodcast@gmail.com.
Well, there's all the ways you can find us. There's all the ways you can do that. And obviously in the future, we'll be finding more ways to be able to connect with you. And we're thrilled that you have. And thanks for joining us for the first 50 episodes.
Yes.
We look forward.
Congratulations, Jeff, on your victory over the weekend.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hey, I was going to say we should congratulate ourselves on the fact 50 shows. I mean, that's, when we started this, we talked about it, and, you were the person who said, we got to try to go every week. And it's really been a lot of fun, and it's been a blast. And we have a good time with it, and I hope everybody else does too. And, we love doing the show, and, now the nice part is going to be we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to give you a little bit different looks, and you're going to get different stuff from us in the future, and we're going to continue to work on giving you the best show that we can. We're really looking forward to it. I love this. Your take on the first, any thoughts on the first 50, Mike?
There have been, like many of the we talk about our old radio days, and we say, it was a good show, or when the show was, it wasn't so good, or we've had better ones. Just like this one, We've had good ones and we've had bad ones, but I think there've been the good has outweighed the bad, and this is fun. So as long as it's still fun, we'll keep doing it, and we appreciate you listening just the same.
I feel like I will tell you now. I think the show where we kind of turned the corner was hey, is that train out fire outside in front of my apartment? I think that might have been like one of the best ones, one of the better ones, where it's like literally like, why is the train on fire outside in front of my literally out the window?
Jeff, do you need to? We're like, Jeff, do you need to leave?
Oh, like I'm okay. It was cool. That was kind of cool to be doing that. It was like, I'm giving you play-by-play, but the problem is by the time this airs, this will be like old news.
Thank goodness nobody got hurt. That's the general rule. Yeah. After 50 episodes, nobody's gotten hurt yet. So we're going to keep that record. 51 episodes and no injuries yet. So
that we're aware of. We don't know. Maybe Ivan had something like the cat came and like hit him in the balls or something like that. I don't know. That's like the other week where Ivan kept going ding and we kept laughing. That was pretty good. Who was it? It was Heck Boy and Attaboy and Ultra Boy, or I can't remember. Oh, Bellboy. Ding.
Yes, the Bellboy. Ding. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that was pretty good. There are a few others. Like I said, if we can figure out how to pull a best of one of these days, we will. But that's long down the road. But we, like I said, we appreciate you guys listening and being a part of it. All 5 of you. No, I'm kidding. There's more than 5. I think
there's at least 6.
There's at least 6. I was trying to go 10. I was trying to be nice. But yeah. No, absolutely. And next week we should have Ivan, right?
We hope so.
I think.
Please come back to us, Ivan. We miss you.
Please come back. So, for this week, I'm Jeff Stein. With me is Spike. You've been listening to Squares of the Roundtable podcast. Next week, we start with episode 51. You get the usual stuff, and then you're going to get things in a little bit better bites, and it's going to be really, really pretty cool. And I think you guys are all going to love it. We look forward to you being with us for the next 50.
Phase
so have a great day.
Of the Squares of the Roundtable universe.
Yeah, so absolutely. So thanks again, and have a great morning, afternoon, evening, good night, or wherever you're listening. Thanks again, guys.
We gone.